Like, I never thought when I was starting out in this business I'd ever become some kind of a content producer or have to do anything like this. But now it's like, oh, you sell something? You better fucking be in front of a camera and post about it, because if you're not, you are toast. Exactly. You're a total loser. So, Sarah, welcome, dude.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are lucky to have you. So you and I have known each other for, I don't know, since high school. Is it a long, we don't have to get into numbers here, but it's a long time.
Long.
But you and I had met last week, and I said, well, why don't you just come on the podcast? Because you're starting out in the mortgage industry right now, and it's an interesting time to be getting into it. I thought your story is one worth sharing, worth getting out there. Plus, I like you, and I think it'd be a good conversation and somebody that people would like to be around and learn from. So,
I appreciate that. I love the conversation.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have a lot of it today. So, give me the backstory on getting into the mortgage space, because it is a pretty interesting one. It's a different world. It's adjacent to mine. You know, it's real estate is not all the same. There's different avenues within each, but mortgage is one that I'm always fascinated by. I don't understand numbers in the same way that people like you can. And so when I look at what you guys have to go through on a daily basis, I don't know that I could ever do it. But the fact that you are getting into it and really getting your feet wet, it is fascinating to me. And I just want to learn more about what that's been like.
No, I'm green. I'm new in the industry, but I'm not new to sales. So being a Division I athlete, I know I can work hard. I know I will work hard for whomever I'm working with. I'm a grinder.
Yep.
I'm a mom of 4. I get after it. I will say, so I was in the beverage industry for almost 10 years. I'm a big face-to-face person. I think that's, communication is key, but like when you're in person, it's even better. So I always strive for that. So I was in the beverage industry as a field sales manager, and I took a break from that to start my family. I actually jumped into my dad's company for a little bit, Maloof Contracting. They're based in Crofton, and my whole role there was meant to be, again, kind of using my sales expertise. Going out, he does a majority of their work in DC. Okay. So I'm like, okay, yeah, the commute to DC, fine, great. I'd love to go meet with clients, take them out to lunch, dinner, whatever, go on job sites. I was all for it. It turned out to be my dad and I. Every time I was in there, it's like, Sarah, I'm so excited to see you. Guess what I had for dinner last night? Like, oh, Dad, I love you. And
you're the only girl, right?
I am the only girl.
Yep, that'll do it.
Yes,
that'll do it.
And it was great. I loved catching up with him. But to go back to how I got into the mortgage industry, I needed more. I'm someone that just I love to just work hard, and I want to show my kids. I have all girls, so women work hard too. And then on this side of the industry, as a lender, the females are not as represented as males. Absolutely. Let's go. And I can guarantee you, even though I'm new, I will work harder than 90% of the other lenders out there. And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I believe that there's another 10% that I want to replicate, that I want to learn from, that I know they're incredible at their job, and they are where they are because of their work ethic too.
Yeah.
But I think being new is I want to okay, I'm new. Let me flaunt it because I want to learn, and I want to grow.
Does somebody get you excited about it? Does somebody talk to you about it and say, you know what, you would be really good at this?
So my husband, Ryan, is on the real estate side. We own a couple properties in Annapolis, Baltimore. And I've seen his side of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but what happened? I needed a full circle picture. I'm like, what happens on the other side? So I sparked an interest just by kind of listening in, being, in the same room as him. And then I reached out to Matt Miller with Cross Country Mortgage, and he was like, let's hop on a call. Let me tell you about it. And he hooked me. I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, I get to chat with people and help first time home buyers and help people put money back in their pocket. I actually get to make people's day. Let's go. That's just what got me so excited. And It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but you have a team to help. You have your computer to help. We're blessed with a lot of resources at our fingertips.
Yes.
Sometimes blessed, sometimes
cursed,
but
I guess you have to. So what's it been like getting into it? Are you allowed to, what are you encouraged to do starting out? Because is it something that you go to the office every day? Is it something where you're like, where they're like, honestly, if I see you, it's a bad thing. I don't want to see you. I want you out there in the field meeting people and having conversations and talking. What's it been like starting out? Because you've been doing this a few months now.
Yeah. I think everyone on my team is encouraging me, go get out there, meet with agents, go to open houses.
Yeah.
Go straight to the buyer, be a resource, be someone that they can say, okay, I feel comfortable sending my buyers to because you're easy to talk to. You'll make them feel comfortable. And I think that's something that I'm trying to, I don't want to say prove myself, but show that absolutely, yes, use me. My phone is always on. So that's definitely something, I mean, they love to be in the office, but I want to work on getting out in person and showing that, I'm here. I'll go to open house on the weekend. I did last weekend. It's great.
I think you're onto something with the face-to-face stuff. I think, especially in this day and age, it is probably more impactful than it's ever been because we are so diluted with all the technology and all of the, video this and I mean, shit, I'm guilty of it right now. But I think that we spend so much time on our phones and our computers that having somebody that can really connect with you and make that human touch is super valuable because a lot of people can't do it. And you might be really, really good at numbers or, structuring stuff. But if you can't talk to people and you can't communicate that, then you're probably not going to be as good as you can be. And I think that's kind of an undervalued skill. I think with most salespeople, I think most people in general in life, sales are really not glorified as much as probably they should be. And mostly because sometimes it's fueled by a lot of jocks or people that you would think would be maybe not as smart as somebody that was in the tech space or somebody that is, whatever.
Absolutely.
But I think that there's a skill that those people have that can't be quantified in a classroom.
And skill.
And it is the ability to talk to people. It's the ability to charm people. It's the ability to communicate things in an effective way. And that's not something that you can get out of a book. That's not something that you can really, it's a difficult skill to learn. You really need a lot of practice with it, or you just need to have the innate ability to be somebody that people want to talk to.
I think it's perfectly said. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole, when I talk to a buyer, you need to speak with them. And it's, my opinion, so much easier to do. For the most part, you're going to have to do some on the phone, but I need to ask what your goals are. I need to ask you lots of questions because the more I can get out of you, the more work I can do for you, the better it will be in the long run.
Amen.
So, and you're not going to want to answer. And the questions are, you have to ask hard questions.
Yes.
And in this day and age, people feel so uncomfortable talking about finances, but that's life. This is what we need to speak about for me to get you in your house, in your dream house. So, you're not going to want to open up to someone that may, not make you.
No. And if it's somebody that's also super, you can have conversations with people and get an idea really quickly. I think you and I have talked about this before. If it's somebody that is coming off pushy and salesy, I'm sorry, there ain't nobody in the world that's going to sell me. I need somebody that seems almost not necessarily therapeutic in terms of being a good listener, but somebody that has the confidence that just comes through the phone or comes through in person. All right, they're going to handle it. No matter what the issue is, they will handle it. And I feel comfortable enough sharing what I need with them and that it will get done in a way that's going to benefit me. And it might benefit them, but it's not about them. It's clearly about me. And I think that's what every customer is looking for. It's what every client is looking for, somebody that can take care of them. You really just don't get that a lot. I think a lot of people get caught up in what they see on TV in terms of a sales thing, or what they have heard. Sales does this, or you got to be this. Like, bro, point. I'm sorry, New York City sales is even that
you see on TV.
Exactly. That shit has changed over time. It's not, nobody wants that bulldog. And if you do, like, you're probably not the person for me, and that's fine. There is somebody for everybody. Don't get me wrong.
Agreed. Completely.
But I think generally most people want somebody that is a combination of effective and the best fit for them. And it's not always going to be easy to find. But that brings up my next question. What was your first job? You remember that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
go on.
My first job, I'm like kind of boring. I've lived in Maryland my whole life.
Same here.
I think we talked about that.
Hell of a state. Hell of a state.
But yeah, so Maryland pride. University of Maryland, meet Towson. So let's go.
State schools, let's go. Let's go Tigers. My whole family is Towson Tigers, minus me. Oh yeah, they love it.
Oh my gosh. But my first job, so I graduated and I had a friend, actually super cool. I had a friend whose dad owned a distributor, so a beer and wine distributor. So I literally got out and was like right into sales, like, let's go. But super cool. Her daughter at the time was really young. She was probably like 6 or 7. She knew that I played lacrosse. And she just was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Sarah's so cool. I want to play lacrosse. Fast forward, she went to like absolutely crush it at High Point.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And is doing her thing. And she's just like, I'm like, are you kidding me? You looked up to me. Go girl. But anyhow, so yes, I started with DOPS. They're still in business, based out of Fort Washington, Maryland. It's right outside of DC.
Oh yeah.
And I covered, I covered Ocean City, Maryland, the beaches. Yes. Berlin. All the Eastern Shore.
So what did you have to do? Do you have to meet with restaurant owners and just, go through the book of business, almost like an account executive, but you had to keep the book going?
It was on and off premise. So yes, restaurant owners, retailers, all of that jazz, all the hotels.
Oh yeah.
So that was all open book. Anyone that had a liquor license, I was walking in their door. Yeah. And the book at that point was like 80% beer. Yeah. 10% wine, 10%. Yeah.
So you're basically like combination of business development and retention. And that is, God, I guess you really don't know how many different businesses need that service. So you're the distributor. So are you the middleman between the vineyards and the breweries and the distilleries to these?
Yes, exactly. So we had a full book of brewery partners, wineries, distilleries. Our big one at the time was Michter's. So that got ginormous. But yeah, so I would take this book. I mean, I ran with what was hot at the time. I ran with what was popular. And that was my foot in the door to everywhere. Hey, we have the Michter's. We have the 21st Amendment beer. Like, you don't have an account with us? This is what's selling me right then and there. I was like, okay, I mean, sold.
So how does the distributor get paid? You get paid from the wholesaler?
Yes. So we were the wholesaler, and
Okay.
So we would distribute, and we acted as the wholesaler.
Gotcha.
So yes, all of the partners, and we were small at the time. Now that I think about it, but yeah, and then I would get paid commission, through
so you've been commission.
Oh yeah,
girl, please.
But and in the summer, Ocean City, it was great. But I had to work really hard in the off season.
I bet.
There's not many people.
I bet. In the off season, there's probably not a whole lot of people out. It's funny. I had I had one of my friends, John Mark Bolton, on, this was probably a year ago. He came on the pod, and he has gone on to make probably one of the biggest regional pest control companies in the Southeast. And he started, and has only done sales his entire life, but he started at like MR Ducks in Ocean City, and was like,
my God.
I told the owner, I'm going to be doing whatever record you have for selling, I think at that time it might've been like the scopes or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
He said, whatever your record is, I'm going to break it.
I love that.
And sure enough, he freaking did.
I love that mentality.
It's like, he just was like, nah, my mom grew up a realtor. And so she was always commission. I always was like fascinated by that lifestyle. It never scared me. I feel like a lot of people these days are very scared by a sales and commission, because it is totally uncertain. It's not as sexy as a job that has a salary and benefits and all that stuff. So I'm always like intrigued by the people that's all I've ever done is sales and commission stuff. It's just, it's different, man. It is different. Totally different. It brings out a different version of yourself than probably what you would be otherwise. You're certainly less sedentary because you don't have that safety net. You have to draw out the best parts of yourself as often as possible. It can be taxing. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It can be very taxing on you mentally. But I also feel like with that, with the risk being higher, the reward is also higher.
Perfectly said.
Way easier for people to poo-poo that have the safety net, because it's like, cool. But I just think there's something really special about somebody that's willing to take a chance on themselves, because that's really what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. I think it's perfectly put. You eat what you kill. But I think, right, you wake up in the morning, you take a hard look in the mirror, and I believe a lot of what I do in my path, it's mental.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be mentally strong, and you're going to go through the roller coasters, but you just have to wake up in the morning. I feel very grateful, and I just, working hard will only benefit me and my family.
Yeah. I got to imagine, like, I think that's part of the reason a lot of athletes get into the sales space. It's like, it really is like that in most cases. Like, you're going to be you're not necessarily your own boss. In a lot of ways, I guess you always are, no matter what you do. But it is so different. And having that drive is something that's really important. And most athletes will have it because they've kind of had to, where, shit, nobody's going to run for me. I got to do it. Nobody's going to lift for me. I'm going to have to do it. Nobody's going to do things for me. I've got to get off my ass and make shit happen. And I have a lot of people that are counting on me to do that. And I think that pressure gets even harder when you do have a family and you start growing that family, and then you have growing responsibilities and other things. It can be a beautiful thing because you can also meet new people that way and make new connections. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a taxing lifestyle. So I'm certainly saying it that as awesome as it can also be pretty trying, but athletes are used to doing really hard things. And I think that's where that confidence comes from, the ability to say, I've done hard things. I've done things that others weren't willing to do. And this doesn't faze me as much as it would a civilian. So, how long were you doing the distributor thing?
So I was with, and it's so funny because I know, and you'll probably know the movie, but what's the movie where like everything it's like all these different paths. And if you didn't say yes to like this opportunity, then you wouldn't have this life. What's that movie?
Oh, you mean Butterfly Effect?
Yes.
Ashton Kutcher. Let's go, Kutch.
No, I can never be on the movies podcast because I fall asleep.
Oh my God. It's gotta be a married woman thing, because my wife, she'll be like, oh my God, I love this movie. 5 minutes in, out like a light.
Very nice. Same. No, so when I joined with DOPS, I was with them for a brief time. So probably 7 or 8 months. My parents owned a townhouse in Berlin.
Okay.
So that's where I lived, and that's why I took that territory.
Yep.
So I had it's called the Wine Rack. I think it's been I think it's been purchased or rebranded or whatever, but it was right on Route 50.
I remember that.
Coming in, yes. Yeah. If you come in and enter the, I don't know what.
Was it the like 60th Street Bridge, or was it the First Street?
Yes. I forget what it's called. It's not like upper, I want to call it like upper side, lower side.
No, it's like kind of in the middle of Ocean City. I forget what the bridge is called. I just remember, I always smirk when I say it because it's like Assawoman River or something like that. And I'm like, all right, who did this? Who did this? Come on now.
No, but yes. So Wine Rack on Route 50. I was with DOPS 7-8 months at this point. I called on them. There was this sweet older gentleman named Mike Clark. And oh my gosh, he's probably like 90. Bless his heart. Amazing. And he came up to me. I was doing my inventory. I was, making all my notes, telling him what he needed that week, what I was going to sell him, had my bag. And he said, Sarah, I want to tell you, I was talking to the manager over at Bacchus Importers, and I want you to meet with them. And I said, okay. I mean, I'm always, listen, I will always have a conversation. I'll always meet with whoever. So anyway, I interviewed with them and I started with Bacchus, and that is where I found my husband. So it was and I was with Bacchus for a few years. They ended up getting rolled into Breakthrough Beverage, or acquired by them. So fast forward even more, I was still in the beverage industry at this time, but it was just really cool because if Mike Clark, if I didn't call on Mike Clark every week and I didn't show up every week and do my inventory, he probably would never had, we wouldn't have had the relationship for him to be like, I want you to do this. And I never would have met Ryan.
Yep.
So it's funny how things work out. Yeah.
It is wild.
Timing.
Yeah. Timing's freaking everything. And would you say that's what's the first like meaningful adult decision? Was it just taking a chance on yourself and getting that first gig out of college and kind of moving out on your own in Berlin?
I have to say yes, because I think, and I've heard it before many times, you need to get out of your hometown to really find yourself, find your route, start your path. And I think without knowing it at that time, that's exactly what I did. I didn't. I lived by myself. I wasn't seeing anybody in this like 3-bedroom townhome, but I wasn't really a partier. I just wanted to work. And it's funny because it's like Ocean City, party capital. I'm like, no, right? I'm good. Like, let me just.
Well, thank God you found Ryan and it wasn't one of these Jersey boys or Philly fans that come down.
Have you been watching the NHL playoffs?
I can't.
Yeah, I can't. Pittsburgh.
I only pay attention when the Caps are in it and relevant. I like to pretend like I'm like the worst kind of hockey fan and soccer fan because I really don't care about either of the two. I will say hockey is probably the hardest sport to play, and what those guys go through on a daily basis on top of what they get paid, it's like, it's not enough.
Oh my gosh.
Those freaking guys have to be in incredible shape. They take brutal beatings on the daily. And if you go like per capita, like what they get paid versus what the NBA guys get paid versus what the NFL guys get paid, I'm like,
preach,
God,
preach.
God, these guys, feel bad for them. Okay. But hardest sport to play. I only pay attention in the playoffs, and I only pay attention if the Caps are in. And I will be the worst kind of fan because I'll be like, "Oh my God, did you see Ovi on that one? That was incredible! All season with this guy, all season." And people will be like, "Who the fuck are you? Like? What are you saying, bro?" That he has. I'll be naming guys that were on the team like 10 years ago, and they'll be like, "Dude, he's been traded 3 times since then, pal." Like,
exactly what you're talking about.
I'll be like, "Oh my God, was that Pete Bondra again?" Like, no, dude, he retired in 2003. What are you doing? It'll be like that kind of shit. And I do the same thing with soccer. I only pay attention to the World Cup, and I'll be like,
"Oh yeah, soccer.
Oh, Pulisic, totally."
Corner.
I mean, did you not see him right there, dude? He's been doing this all. He's playing overseas, right?
Did you know that? Because I knew that.
Yeah, I'm the worst, and so I have not been paying attention to the NHL stuff.
Oh, it's been crazy. Yeah, it's been.
Has it been a good playoff so far?
There's been a lot of Game 6 pushes where you totally think, oh my gosh. There's been like 3 different series where one I can't tell you which team was up the 3-0, but it's been a lot.
Oh my God,
and then they come back 3-1, 3-2, and it's like, all right, let's go.
That is, I will say, it's the one sport where that's more common than anything else. Like in hockey, more than any other sport, like you are not dead until you are dead. In the NBA, it's like you're down 3-0, you're fucking losing.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
You're losing. I'm sorry, and the guys know it too. So you see them come out like they might win a game, maybe 2, but it's like, no, dude, get ready to go to Cancun. NFL's unique just because it's like one and done. And MLB, I will say, I'm not into baseball at all, but I have certainly gotten more intrigued by it in the last couple years since they've made the rule changes and they've speeded things up a little bit.
Yes. Then I will take my kids.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's definitely probably the best fan experience when you have little ones. The best experience in game, still hockey. It's fantastic. It can't even be touched. But I don't know. I feel like sports it's the last vestige of live entertainment that I think a lot of people can get behind. And it doesn't really matter what the age is, but I love it so much. God,
I love it. I was a sports management major.
Really?
Yes, I minored in business.
Okay.
And I wrote so many papers on just sports in general, but you just touched on it. Like it's the last live entertainment. Like you can't freaking Google who's going to win when it's middle of second period. Like, you know,
despite what social might say, it is not scripted, but it can be a soap opera. So I think that's what also keeps people involved. Like there's always storylines with it, and you know, who's the best? Oh, God, sports are awesome. I freaking love it.
I love it.
And
I'm pushing my kids so hard into lacrosse. And I even told before I became a mom, I was like, I'm not going to force them into anything. I'm going to let them try out all the sports. I'm going to, you know, if they don't like lacrosse, it's all good. And I'm like, get the stick in your hand. We're going to play 10 passes.
That's right. That's right. I wish that I was like that more with my kids and more pushy. My oldest just fights me on everything. And so I'm like, I don't know that I have the energy to really deal with you right now. So
battles.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick my battles and make the best of it. But you know, it is what it is. But I feel like she would be somebody that would benefit from a little independence and going out on her own and finding herself through just having to do shit by herself.
Yeah.
I think she's so dependent on us. And I feel like college was that for me in a lot of ways, was living on my own. And you know, I had roommates and stuff like that, so I wasn't like on my own, but like being detached from family and starting to like grow up a little bit, you just learn different skills and how to be, you know, a self-sufficient adult in a lot of ways, and not totally reliant on mom and dad. And I'm very lucky because I had parents that were super supportive of anything that I wanted to do. They were lucky. They had a child that was driven and wanted to do a lot of different things. I didn't try to rely on them for a lot, but they did have to fork out, you know, decent chunk of change for sports stuff, I'm sure. But they were never like resentful of me for that. I think any bit of resentment they had probably went away when they saw success on a field, and they were probably like, all right, it was probably worth it to send him to that camp that he was a pain in the ass at. But you know, I love that. So sports are just awesome. I could talk sports all day. And, what was your experience at Towson like? Was it something that still sticks with you? Do you still chat with
a
lot of the teammates that you had?
Yes. I loved my experience at Towson. I remember looking at, it was Towson. I was really between Towson, JMU, Louisville.
Oh yeah.
I went out there with my mom. But I landed on Towson. I think deep down, I am a bit of a homebody.
Sure.
So I wanted to stay close, but it felt right, you know? It was that gut feeling. All the girls in the team were incredible. I'm still, I'm still super close with a lot of them. I have one of my girlfriend's wedding coming up. In June. Anyhow.
Are you closer with a lot of were a lot of your friends local as well, or were they coming from different parts of the country?
That's a great question. A lot of them were Maryland girls. And then I would say from there, like a majority were Maryland, and then New York was big. I had a lot of girlfriends from New York, a couple from New Jersey.
It's funny to kind of see the different cultures that come in.
Yeah.
And what people are used to, what the personalities are like.
Oh, yeah.
I always found that fascinating in college. You just get a different scope from different parts of the country.
Oh, yeah. Now they're recruiting, you know, and my coach at the time was Sonia LaMonica, and she's Australian. She went to Maryland.
Hello?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With her husband, who was the assistant coach, Mike LaMonica.
Oh, yeah.
So they both were Terps, and now she's over at UVA. But I see now they're totally recruiting like Australians, and you know,
lacrosse is wild now.
Oh my gosh,
it's wild. I mean, they're recruiting people. So like, I remember when we were coming up, we're talking, you know, not to date us too much, sometime in the 2000s. You know, even at that time, it was pretty rare to get somebody outside of the typical East Coast hub, where Maryland, a couple pockets in New Jersey, some Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia area, and New York, particularly Long Island. Those are really like the main spots where you're getting a lot of kids. There's a few pockets in Northern Virginia, DC area, but like that area is generally going to be lacrosse hub. That's, we'll call it God's country. You have that. But then you've got like, I remember my recruiting class at Maryland. We had one of my buddies from Ohio. We had, and he ended up being a 4-year starter. We had another a couple kids from California, one from Washington State, a bunch of my buddies from, oh my God, they were like, we're all over the map. And still had a lot of our Baltimore boys and you know, the usual suspects, but it was cool to kind of see. And then over time, like we had kids from Michigan, kids from Florida, and one of the families from Florida, one of them coaching there now, freaking awesome. Jesse Bernhardt. All-American, everything. Dude's a beast. He's the DC there now. But him and his brothers grew up in Orlando. Their dad was like a football coach and bounced around from like Penn State. I think it was at UCF at the time, and that's why they were in Orlando. So everybody's got their own story, but it's so fun to kind of see lacrosse grown in such a way that it's like, oh my God, you can really get kids from all over. It's also got to be changing the recruiting landscape like crazy, because instead of all these coaches kind of staying local and being able to drive to stuff, we still have most of our tournaments here, but now you get kids from Texas and Florida and California and Colorado and Nevada, all these places across the country, and Australia. We had an Australian on our team, Adam Sear, and I think Adam's coaching, I want to say he's coaching like one of the PLL teams.
Oh yeah, now. Wait.
I think he might be going out with Natalie.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Another Seahawk. Let's go.
Let's go.
So
you have to do that again.
I'm telling you, it's crazy to kind of see it, and it gives me hope that maybe one day lacrosse can reach NHL levels, where it is not one of the top 2 sports. It's never going to be football or basketball, but maybe it could be NHL. I think it'd be kind of cool. It would be really, really awesome for people to really just focus on a sport and not have to do side jobs that are actually real jobs. It would be amazing.
It's a hard sport though. So I understand why, and I'm sure you do as well, why it's taken so long. It's longer than, It
takes long. I mean, it's
gratification people.
All those sports that are, expensive to play. It's really going to attract a certain demographic, and that's part of the reason that it hasn't grown to the extent that it could. Equipment's expensive. Sticks are expensive. It's the same thing with hockey. Like there's a lot of equipment. With hockey, it's even more constricting because I think rinks are not everywhere. Lacrosse, at least you have fields all over the place. You can walk outside and go boom. But it's really difficult to you can do a whole series on why lacrosse is at where it's at and not bigger.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of it also has to do with the marketing of it, but that's a discussion for another time because I can go in hours long conversation about that.
Agreed.
What is probably give me a time where, and maybe this is after you met Ryan, you kind of say no to a path that others kind of expected you to take, and it got you to divert into this path?
I really have to think about that. That's such a good question. I think people expected me, and I think the expectation today is when you are in an industry, that's the industry you will stay in. That's what you know. So I think leaving that beverage industry and going to be a part of my dad's company, although it brief, I think people were like, oh, what's going on? What is she doing? This is what she's done, But yeah, I think. But
what was the expectation that you had for yourself? What did you want to, age-old question, what did you want to be when you grew up?
And I think that's kind of what comes back to why I'm here in the mortgage industry. I always wanted something bigger. I always wanted to do more. And I'm still like, let's go. I want to coach. I want to be a part of like my kids, lacrosse groups. And
we always have like this expectation for ourselves. Like, I remember me growing up, I was like, first, it's like, obviously I'm going to be a professional football player. It's no doubt about it in my mind. Next question, please. And then as I got a little bit older, I was like, all right, still a possibility, but
on the back burner.
We're just going to put it on the back burner for now. A little bit lighter than I needed to be. Not quite as fast as I needed to be. And then I thought like, okay, but once I figured out like, all right, might not be as viable an option as I was thinking. What else did I want to do? And I don't think that I could have seriously answered that question. I had interests for sure. And I think that I'm going to speak for a lot of people when I say, I think it's very rare to have somebody that really knows what they want to do. And I think that is something that you can have. I think you have to have a serious life experience at a young age to be able to decide, this is what I want to do. So usually the people that choose that route are going to be your specialists, your doctors, your lawyers, people that end up going to that secondary school where this is what we're going to do. I don't think that I didn't know in per se what I wanted to do. There is a small part of me that was always like, all right, well, if you can't be a professional athlete, you can at least be like a world-class detective. And then I'm like, actually, no, I can't figure out like where the fucking sock is that has the match in the dryer. So how the hell am I going to be a freaking detective? Like, Jesus Christ. So with that being said, it's like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know that I can be good at something. And I know that that something for me has to be helping people in some way, because what I had that really impacted me growing up was a handful of people that really cared about me and went out of their way to believe in me when they didn't really have a need to. And that meant that they would do extra training sessions with me. That meant that they would help me when I couldn't help myself. And it helped me get where I wanted to go and help me achieve my goals. So I was like, man, if I could be that for somebody else, it would be incredible, because I think those people know it. I think those people know because I've told them, like, A, I love you. B, it means the world to me that you did what you did for me. But I think if I can be, maybe not to that extent, but if I can help somebody when they can't help themselves and deliver something for them that's really meaningful, it's something that I want to be a part of, and I want to do that. So at first I thought maybe that's going to be coaching. Maybe that's going to be helping somebody reach their full potential. And I love coaching, but I'm not going to lie to you. The parents are a pain in the ass. I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but parents can be challenging. When we were growing up, they weren't really a challenge until they were about in high school. Everything kind of changed a little bit and
big shift
started getting a little weirder. So I was like, all right, maybe that can still be in the cards. It's not something that I'll do full time, but maybe it's something that's in the cards in the future. But I think for me, I've always had a fascination with housing. I've always had a fascination with where people live. There's a little bit of a voyeuristic element to that. And I've always had interest in meeting other people in small settings and figuring out their journey and how they got to where they're at, and finding commonalities and just connecting with them. What I've found over time is like a lot of us are way more similar than you would think. And we've had pretty similar experiences, but what you see on socials might not exactly be the whole story. Shocking, I know. But I've landed on real estate for that reason. And that's kind of kept me in it, even through like really difficult times when sales aren't going as well, or, you know, we're having a real rough stretch with people not being able to find something that's perfect for them. And I think making that connection with others and sharing that struggle with them has really kind of solidified for me. This is probably where I need to be.
Yeah.
And when it does work, it's one of the most gratifying things that I can voice in my life. It is finding somebody something that they've really been looking after, or getting them a deal on their house. As corny as it sounds to be like, oh, I got you a fucking sweet deal. As corny as that sounds, it's still like seeing how happy they are at the end of the day.
Genuinely. Right.
It makes it so worth it, and so worth the trouble and the stress and the mental lift that is required to be able to get them from A to B. And that's the part that keeps me in it. And
I love that.
I think that's probably, I think a lot of agents could probably say that. I'm sure a lot of lenders probably feel the same way. But
yeah, I mean, in the service industry.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is.
Right.
It's service. Mm-hmm. And I never like went to school thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be in the service industry. But that's what it is. That's what it is. And I don't regret that. Oh. It would certainly be a lot easier to have a salaried position at some cubicle somewhere and making good money and having
check out
benefits
at
and all that. It would be amazing, I'm sure.
But would it feel so good?
It would feel good sometimes, and I'm sure it would feel like awesome. Like, maybe I wouldn't be on my phone as much. Maybe I would be more connected in some other facets of my life, but I also don't feel like I would be bringing out the qualities in myself that make me me as much. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. And I remembered what I wanted to be when I grew up.
What is it?
I always wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Son of a bitch.
I swear to you.
Really?
That was
good for you.
That was in the back of my mind. I couldn't make it to the front. But I do. There was a time where, and I didn't major in that, but I was like, I love sports. I love talking. I love, I'm comfortable with, being on the camera. And it was something I was like, these are all my passions and I can communicate and, bring females to like the sports industry. I mean, that didn't happen, but
there's still time.
Professional football player, sports broadcaster, be on the Commanders
The clock
field.
might have run out for me. It has not run out for you, Well, I don't know. Maybe if Brady can still, I swear to God, that guy can still throw it.
Oh, 100%.
Incredible.
But no, back to circle back. It's like this industry, again, it's service, but it's such like a feel good service. Like you're helping. And I read something like when you help somebody, yes, you're helping them, making them feel great, but it's definitely comes back around. Oh my God, that feels good that I just got them in that home. I mean, I know they're so pumped, but I'm genuinely pumped. Like, and I don't know. It's just, that's a part that I've really loved, like actually helping people.
Yeah. Well, what have you had to do to get started in the mortgage space? What's like, if somebody was to say, listen to this and say, all right, well, I'm kind of intrigued by this. What would they have to do in order to get into it? Because I don't know.
To be in my position?
Yeah.
Well, you have to first pick up the phone and call somebody. You could call me. And then the first thing I would probably tell you is, okay, let's get started. You have to pass your SAFE MLO exam. So it's an exam that all lenders need to pass in order to be licensed. Okay. And then you have to obviously be licensed in specific states to, originate and do business. But after that, I would probably say you might want to shadow somebody in sure. this role first and foremost, just to see if you like it. I think there's a lot of sexy things about it that are at the forefront. And there's a lot of grind and work on the back end and a lot of weekends and a lot of off hours, if you will, that are put into scrubbing people's files, pre-approving, pulling credit, confirming assets, all that, which aren't as sexy, but needed. It's you got to figure out yourself if you love it.
I would compare it to the drills that you hated doing, but they reinforce the fundamentals.
Partner passing.
And that's it. Yeah, it's the worst. But got to do it.
Yeah.
And it's for a reason. What's the, I'm sure you talked with a lot of different lenders, specifically, Matt and his team at Cross Country. What is some of the advice that they've been giving you? Because I think there's probably a couple of them that are newer. I think most of the team has been seasoned and been doing this for a while now. But what's probably the advice that's stuck with you the most?
The advice that Matt, Hannah, Theone, Nate, my team has given me: be yourself, be authentic. Yeah. Don't try and change yourself just to, acquire a buyer. They've also told me to lean in to the fact that I'm new, which I've said earlier, I'm absolutely doing. I'm not afraid that I'm new. I have a lot to learn. I'm excited, but they've also pointed out the fact that a lot of the lenders do exactly the same thing as every other lender. So there's not really anything particularly special about, again, a majority. I'm not speaking for every single lender out there.
Sure.
There are qualities that some, have, and I applaud the great ones, and I want to, again, replicate. But for the most part, just be someone that you're reliable, you can communicate, and that you just, they want to work with you. That's what I've learned. It comes down to the relationships and building them, building that trust, building the rapport. I'm not in any way someone that came into this industry thinking that I'm new, let's go, I'm going to get business tomorrow.
That was me. That was me. I was like, I mean, I got my license. Do these people not know?
Right. That's right.
Like, line up outside the door, guys. Let's go. And I will just be honest with you. It did not work out that well. I mean, I don't think I had my first sale until like maybe the 6-month mark. And even that was like a friend of a friend taking a chance on me, and ended up working out great. But still, that was a learning curve for me. And I wish going back, I had been a little more open to being either an assistant for somebody or maybe a team member or something like that. I just was cold out of the gates on my own, thinking I knew everything. That's the stubbornness in an athlete that you're like,
yeah, I got it.
Not having a clue how the industry worked and any of that stuff. And I found out a lot of stuff the hard way. And don't recommend that for most people. It sucks. But having gone through that, I feel like, in some ways I'm stronger for it and better for it. But in other ways, I'm like, dude, you would have been better off just like jumping on a team or being an assistant for somebody and really getting into the minutia and figuring things out that, just because you got a license does not mean that people are going to use you. Because I think you and I talked about this last week or the week before that, and where we said, I think I had given you similar advice to what your team has said, where like a lot of lenders do a lot of the same stuff. A lot of agents do a lot of the same stuff. And most of the tools are the same. In your space, you're going to have certain programs that you have access to that other people will not have access to. So there is some differences, and there's a very similar thing in our space where maybe we have access to a couple of tools that another agent or another firm doesn't have access to. But by and large, you got to think of it like plumbers. We all have a toolbox. There's mostly the same tools in that toolbox. And there might be somebody that's super experienced. There might be somebody that's pretty green. Even if let's say I have a relationship with both of them, that will matter to a pretty large degree on the outset. And how that relationship evolves will depend on the effectiveness of that contractor. Did they solve my problem? And did they do it in a way that was effective for me financially and timing wise and all that? And I don't really care if it's somebody who's green and new into it or somebody who has 15 years of experience in doing it. If the person that has 15 years in experience doing it doesn't really give a shit because it's small potatoes for them, but the other person is like super attentive and on it and they do the exact same job or better than the other, then obviously I'm going to go with the person who cares about me more. So there is always an avenue for somebody that, even if they're newer into the industry, but they're not dumb and they care about me and getting things done in an effective way, I'm going to go with the person that's going to be most effective and attentive. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome. And I think more people need to give chances to people that maybe you don't see them in the magazines. Maybe you don't see them all over the socials. Lord knows that you and I have talked about socials. But I think there is something to be said for somebody that is willing to give you their time and do the best for you, especially starting out. Because for salespeople, it's fucking hard starting out, and you want people to give you a chance, but you need people that are understanding that not everybody deserves that first chance, but you will, because you're actually super equipped and really effective. And if you don't have the answers, you're going to find the answers. And I think that's a personality trait. And I think that is something that is a characteristic that not everybody has. And that's why not everybody is made for sales. You've already got huge sales background and being able to talk to a bunch of people that you didn't really have a relationship with before in the beverage industry, but you did it. And they ended up being really good friends and getting you great clients. And, now you have a family because of it. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike Clark.
Exactly. But I think that's something that resonates no matter what industry you're in. And I think you're super well suited for this one. And I think it's going to be awesome for you getting into it. So
I'm excited.
You should be. You should be. It should be awesome. We have to wrap this up in a couple minutes. So where can the audience find you?
Audience can find me anywhere on social. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all that jazz. All my info will be in the bio. My phone's always on. You can always contact me via email. Very responsive.
Awesome.
But yeah, best to sell.
Okay.
But anything works. Yeah.
And I'll put that in the description for people. So anybody that is curious about their affordability, they need some financing options, be it refi, home purchase, maybe you're looking to expand an investment portfolio. Who the hell knows? Guys, reach out to Sarah. Sarah's awesome. And if you're trying to get into the industry and you want kind of a first person perspective of what's it like right now for somebody that's really going through the thick of it, reach out and let her know. And anything else you want to say to the audience before we wrap it up?
No, thank you. I'm here to help. I'm excited.
Perfect. All right. Well, Sarah, thank you for joining us. And audience, catch you next time.